Welcome to the AI for Career Success video overview by Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Today, we are examining the critical arguments presented in the article, "An AI Pioneer Warns the Tech Herd is Marching into a Dead End," written by Cade Metz and published in the New York Times on January 26, 2024.
To really get to the bottom of this, we've structured our analysis into 5 key sections to fully unpack this pretty significant industry debate.
So let's begin by establishing the credibility of the central figure in all of this, Yann LeCun, and get a handle on his provocative central claim. Yann LeCun is not some newcomer to the scene. His career spans nearly 40 years and has been absolutely foundational to modern AI. We're talking about pioneering neural networks at Bell Labs, building Facebook's AI lab, and even receiving the Turing Award. So when a figure like this decides to leave a company like Meta to start his own venture, you know his warnings carry some serious weight.
And here's his core argument. He's saying the tech industry has a singular focus on one type of AI, and that it's a huge strategic error. He calls it a herd effect, and he's suggesting this massive, concentrated effort could end up costing years of work and billions of dollars, all while ignoring potentially better ideas.
Okay, so let's really dissect the technical basis for his critique. What are his fundamental problems with what we call large language models, or LLMs?
First, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. Large language models, or LLMs, are the systems powering tools you've definitely heard of, like ChatGPT. The way they work is by analyzing just immense amounts of digital text and data to learn skills and recognize patterns.
LeCun's point is that because these LLMs are only trained on data, they simply lack the ability to truly reason, to plan, or to understand the physical world. And he sees this as a critical, fatal flaw that causes them to make mistakes that just cascade and pile up when they're faced with anything complex. This quote, it just sums up his stance perfectly. He's saying the current path isn't just slow, it's fundamentally the wrong one if the goal is true artificial general intelligence. He believes the whole industry has been completely consumed by an approach that has inherent and maybe insurmountable limitations. But of course, it's not a one-sided story. To give you a balanced perspective, we need to examine the pretty strong counter-arguments from people who believe the current approach is still very viable and incredibly valuable.
You can really boil the disagreement down to these two opposing views. On one hand, LeCun is pointing to what he sees as fundamental flaws, like an inability to plan. On the other, you have proponents who are highlighting that, hey, these systems' reasoning capabilities are getting better, and let's not forget, the technology is already making a ton of money.
You have proponents like Rayan Krishnan who argue that performance is consistently getting better, and this suggests that the limitations LeCun points out might just be temporary hurdles that we can overcome, not permanent dead ends.
And then there's the commercial value, which is just undeniable. Professor Kampampati makes a great point that even if LLMs aren't true intelligence, they're incredibly useful in fields like computer coding. That usefulness alone justifies the massive investment, whether or not they ever lead to superintelligence.
Now, this debate actually goes beyond just the technology. It gets into strategy, and this is where LeCun has some stark warnings about the dangers of abandoning open-source development. LeCun doesn't mince words here. He calls a potential move toward proprietary, closed-off systems a disaster. He argues it poses a significant risk to Western technological leadership, especially when you look at the competition.
So why is he so firm on this? Well, he believes that an open ecosystem is simply the safest and most effective way forward. It helps the whole field move faster, it stops any one company from getting a monopoly, it makes security better, and it maintains a competitive edge on the global stage.
So finally, let's look at how LeCun is putting his money where his mouth is. He's not just criticizing, he's actively pursuing an alternative path with his new company. You can see this clear pattern emerge when you look at his career. He helped build the very foundation of the current AI boom with his work on neural networks. And now, he's pivoted to solve what he sees as its most fundamental flaws.
His new work is centered on building what he calls world models. Now, the idea here is to build systems that can understand cause and effect, predict the consequences of their actions, and, because of that, plan. This is a direct answer to the key limitation he sees in today's mainstream AI.
And that really leaves us with the crucial, high-stakes question that is going to define the next decade of tech. This debate between LLMs and world models isn't just academic. It's a race to define the future of intelligence itself. Thank you for watching.
This is where we teach you AI and help you get smarter than your competition.
If you like these videos, use the QR code at the beginning or end of this video to buy us a coffee. We encourage you to subscribe to the AI for Career Success YouTube channel, and please do like, comment, and share to help us reach a wider audience.